there's only one, maybe two scenes that I felt the music was right. Mars, I think Mars was a perfect sequence, but that's something we'll go into later, but that was a perfect sequence and aided so much by the music.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, personally, I found the music intrusive. Also, I'd say it's probably something to do with mixing as well. It comes in a bit loud sometimes.
Yeah, there were moments when the music... There was one moment in particular, I can't remember where it was in the film, but I noticed the music surged up, and then there was some dialogue, so the music went straight down again to go under the dialogue. And then as soon as the dialogue was over, it went straight up again.
Yeah.
And you think, why couldn't it have just surged after the dialogue?
Yeah.
You know, little moments like that where the music didn't quite work.
You noticed the music too much, I think.
There were some genius moments, like there was...
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah was good.
Genius,
I heard someone complain about that, but it was so perfect, because it was played for laughs and it needed to be.
Yeah.
You know, there needs to be some comedy in this film, guys, come on.
Yeah.
And that worked. It worked for laughs, it was perfect, it was exactly right.
Definitely.
There was another moment that worked for laughs, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic with the music. That shot that you've all seen in the trailers of Dr. Manhattan striding through Vietnam, and you had Ride of the Valkyries playing
I thought
on the
that,
soundtrack.
I didn't realise that was going to be in there.
I didn't realise, I had no idea.
I saw it, and it was just like,
it was so
dear God,
perfect.
this should not be funny, but it's kind of perfect. Another scene, I think, the music was... I'm still debating whether it's a good or a bad point, but I thought the bit of funk that you had when the comedian was just jumping off the owl shit.
I loved that.
I thought that was just like...
I thought it was perfect.
There's that... It takes away from the seriousness of the scene a bit, but I do think it gets his character right. Do you know what? I only noticed one guy had superpowers. You know that glowing blue guy?
Yeah. No, but this is a point that I've picked up a lot on you know, discussions of Watchmen, is people who have watched the trailer and who've seen clips say that it seems like some of the characters have superpowers. There's two things that I want to say to that. And, I mean, even though they are supposed to be normal human beings, that's the whole point of them as characters. They're normal human beings who have just, you know, got into this life because they thought it would be fun. There's two things. First of all, and this is in the comic book as well, Adrian Veidt catches a bullet with his bare fucking hands, right? So I think there's a certain amount that they can get away with.
Yeah.
Also, because a comic is still images, a film isn't. Every action film has people jumping 10 feet in the air, so there's a certain amount of artistic license that I think Zack Snyder can get away with.
Let's face it, if this was the kind of violence you saw in Watchmen,
yeah,
would you really be that happy? I think now we move on to the one-eyed monster that was left in from the comics. The glowing blue one.
The penis. Dr. Manhattan's penis.
Wasn't as intrusive, but... Sorry, that almost came out really wrong. It wasn't overdone. You had some giggles from the audience.
Yeah, there were people who weren't expecting it, who, you know, thought it was funny.
Yeah,
and it was quite funny.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, what the hell? There was some unnecessary shots of it though.
Yeah. The thing that I think, and I mentioned this to James before, and you found it very interesting, was I pointed out that in the film, he's got quite a large penis. You know, he's like this big, muscular man, he's like the perfect specimen of manhood. He's big, he's muscly, he has no body hair, he has a large penis, you know, he's the perfect man. In the comic books, he is all of those things, but he has a small penis. He has quite a modestly sized penis. And we suddenly realised that it's really interesting to think of him as God, the perfect man, who's got quite a small cock.
Definitely.
I don't think it's a really important point whether his penis is large or small. I just think it's an interesting thing to note.
I think the one thing that we've both been dying to talk about, and I think is the most important, at the end of the day, it's that scene from Watchmen that everyone remembers reading.
Yeah.
And it was always going to be that question of how are they going to do this? Are they going to pull it off? And it's going to make or break the film, because it can completely detach you, or it can completely immerse you. It's Mars.
Mars.
Absolutely stunningly done.
Beautiful piece of cinema.
Yeah, it was the kind of thing that I do think that if you actually took that scene out of the film and showed it as a separate short movie, it would work.
Right, so final thoughts. What did you think of the film? we're not going to rate it because rating things is unnecessary.
Yeah. It's like, here's a complex opinion on something quite complex. 4 out of 5. But
Zero
no.
punctuation.
Yes. You're going to have to cut that out, aren't you? Shit. I'm sorry, I stole your shit. Sue me. It is a beautiful movie. I think it gets some scenes, like we've said, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And this is talking about just as a movie. It takes some things absolutely perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
There's pacing issues. When you look at it as a film by itself, I'm not sure whether it'd work. Without the attachment so many people have, without that spreading love element.
Yeah.
This film would be a massive... Well, this film wouldn't even be made if it was an original idea. I don't think you can put Alan Moore into cinema.
No.
I think
also
this is...
he wouldn't let you. I mean, the reason that it's so focused on Dave's work is because they had Dave on the film.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Alan Moore because
You're
he refused.
self-indulgent bastard.
Yeah, I mean, you know, come on, give
Give
the
us a
fans,
prettier film, yeah.
give the fans something, Alan Moore. What are you doing, Alan Moore? My thoughts on the film, what I witnessed on screen was a piece of distilled awesome. It was, as you said the other day, eyeball-rapingly beautiful, and I love luxurious images, so I really enjoyed it on that level. I thought it worked quite well as a detective story. I quite like slow films, so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I thought it was very well done. I thought there were a lot of things that could have been done better, but there are also a lot of things that could have been done much, much worse, and I wasn't expecting perfection.
Hoping for it. Not
Hoping for, but not expecting. It didn't live up to my hopes, but it lived up to my expectations.
Alan Moore, if you ever come across on this, because, you know, obviously you hate the internet because you hate most things, he's going to hurt me for that if he ever watches this, isn't he? I challenge you to make a movie which is amazing. No, not have one of your works adapted by someone else and then you bitch about it. Yeah.
You whiny fucker.
Yeah. You turn down the money, so you got to, at least you got dignity with it. But
He's a dignified whiny fucker.
that's high praise. But I just feel that at the end of the day, you complain so much about this medium. Cinema is a beautiful medium. You're one of the best writers of our generation. So please just sit down, write a script. You write scripts for comics. I know it's a different medium. Translate that into cinema. Give us the best damn film that we've ever seen. And then you can bitch even more about V for Vendetta, Watchmen, From Hell. Yeah.
I liked V for Vendetta. Don't hit me. Sorry.
I'll get him later, guys, don't worry. Yeah, we won't mention League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because
Let's
we'd
not.
be
Let's just
pissing
not. Let's
over
just
a grave.
not.
I got him back for the V for Vendetta comment.
Right. The last question that we have to answer. Better or worse than The Dark Knight?
Worse.
Yeah, not as good as The Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it, actually.
Not worse.
Yeah.
A very good film, but didn't live up to the greatness of The Dark Knight. And I think simply because The Dark Knight was an original idea created as a film. Watchmen was an adaptation. Final thoughts. The Dark Knight is still the best comic book movie ever.
How dark, man.
Peace.
See you later. We will feel really guilty now. We slagged off Alan Moore.
Back on topic.
So I keep on doing this.
Yeah, I'm going to cut all of it out. You're not going to have any screen time, so...
Damn it.
Yes.
There goes my 15 minutes of fame.
Talk to the camera.
Right.